Valentine's Day, they also sell like a giant Reese Cup heart, and let me tell you, it's not as good as the little ones. Well, I've had them before, and not good. Not good.
Sister Love has a calendar that has like on this day in history, and it says for like this day, yeah, it was some guy named Valentine. He was performing illegal marriages, and he was executed on February 14th. So that's why we celebrate it.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Except we shouldn't celebrate it because it's made up and ridiculous.
Yeah. A lot of holidays are
And ridiculous.
like what's that called?
They have a Groundhog
St.
Day.
Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day is really a saint. Yeah.
They say Saint Valentine.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I guess if it's performing marriages, he was a saint. He was just like a rogue.
A rogue saint. Rachel's gonna love these notes.
I called you rogue lobe. That should be a thing.
So part of this chapter is going to go back and talk about the plus C stuff, which we've done a lot. So hopefully that is not going to be like earth shattering to you. But today we're just going to talk about reminding ourselves that when we solve an equation, when we know the derivative and we work backwards, and we do the plus C, that's really solving a differential equation. And again, it's something that I can guarantee will show up on the AP test. And it says the order of a differential equation is the order of the highest derivative. It just means that they could give you a second derivative, and that would be of second order. I don't think that's super important, but you know, it's in your book. So most of your homework today is going to go back to what we did in the beginning of chapter 5 from the packet that says find all functions that satisfy this equation. The difference is instead of talking about antiderivative, we're going to talk about what would we do to solve this if we treated it like a differential equation. And we did differential equations before break. Remember differential equations, you had to separate the dy from the dx. And so if I wanted to solve this equation and separate it, do you agree I could move the dx over here? So I would get dy equals 3x squared plus cosine x dx. What's wrong?
You can go wherever you want. Your phone is in my way.
Every time she bends over to where I'm like leaning around there.
I can put it wherever I want it. I have it where I want. Thank you very much.
Oh, Lord.
We're not off to a good start.
I know.
We want to solve for y. So if we have, we've never quite looked at an integral like this, but if I want to solve this for y, what I can do is I can integrate both sides. What do you think about that?
Yeah, fun.
And this is what we've been doing this whole time. Like, don't make fun of my integral sign. Had to squish it in.
It's just like an S.
I don't care.
Go up.
I don't care.
I stopped making fun of her when I realized they were annoying.
Remember what?
When I realized they were annoying me.
They are annoying to me. If I take the time to do it.
It's just
Who cares? What would the integral of dy be? And that's what we want. So to solve for y, if you just take the integral of dy, it's just y. And then we're just going to integrate this side the way that we've always integrated. So to integrate 3x squared would just be x cubed over 3, so the 3's would cancel out. So can I just say that's x cubed? And what's the integral of cosine? And is that my answer?
let's see. Oh, I forgot. It's gonna kill me. I need a tattoo.
So when it says find all functions, that's all functions because c could be any constant. So really not brand new, but the difference is now we're thinking about separating the dy dx, and when we integrate dy, then that's where we get y. That's cool, right? Easy?
It is easy, so I guess that makes it'll get harder.
Not too bad today.
We didn't small.
Our assembly.
Oh, yes. Right. Just made my day so much better. I'm tired from the recording.
Going to be designing stuff. So excited.
food too much. Like, I try to work out, and then I just get tired, and then I just want to eat.
And then it makes you want McDonald's. Or I can eat every time I work out. I want McDonald's.
The best part of working out is buying clothes. Like that's I only like
Buying clothes?
buying workout clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's what I enjoy.
It is.
I thought you were saying
That's
shopping
what I'm
was a
doing.
workout. I was like,
And buying new exercise clothes because starting to do it. So I just.
so I'm gonna move this over, and notice that they could use any letter that they want. Normally we think of it in terms of x, so that's why it's dy over dx. But if it's in terms of t, then we would say dy over dt. No. How about this? On the AP test, if you write the wrong letter, that's wrong on the free response. So you know how like we always like f of x, but if they use h of x and you say because f of x and it's really h of x, so you have to use what they give you.
Don't be crazy about this word letter.
Sean will get a zero just refuses to write A's and
So how about this one? I'll do this part for you. The integral of dy is still y. But what about this one? This one's a little, they're wanting you to think a little bit today about what would the integral of 3t squared cosine of t cubed be? Tricky, right? It's multiplication, so we have to think a little bit. If this has cosine in it, what do we know has to be done here? We know it has to be sine.
Negative sign.
No, because this is the integral, right? Like this is already the derivative. So we know it has to be sine. And when we take derivatives, and if I was taking the derivative of sine, do I touch what's on the inside, or does it always stay what's there?
Didn't it make the other one negative sign?
Because that was
No.
cosine.
Was the last problem? No, that one was sign.
Because it was on the one you're thinking of, it was cosine.
we're
I'm
doing
looking
same
at it on my paper right now.
It's not negative.
Oh, I just did that. There's a sign.
No.
No, I just wrote it negative.
Okay. When you take the derivative of sine of something, think about like the whole u stuff. Don't we leave the u alone? So if this has cosine of t cubed, does this have to be sine of t cubed? You agree with me on that? Like if you think about if I asked you what the sine of t cubed was. So what would the sine of what would happen if I took the derivative of sine of t cubed? So we would get cosine of t cubed times the derivative, which is what? So do I need to do anything with the 3t squared? No, it's just like the u prime. And so the derivative is just sine of t cubed. I don't know the ability of parentheses on that. Plus t. That's a little thinking work, right? That's where it's a little bit harder today than what we did in chapter 5, is they're going to make you think about some stuff like this. Of saying how do I work that? Because it's kind of leading us into section 6.2, which is like the last rule I think I'm going to teach you in terms of integration rules. Integration by substitution. I know, who would know? Sometimes I don't really know.
Now, C plus is forward left.
You missed. Did you throw that out? How are you gonna write down?
I threw it at his foot because that's safe.
It's weird just putting Abraham Lincoln.
Mr. Rhodes throws it at your head. I'm just saying.
Mr. Rhodes aims to kill.
I wouldn't throw
I
it.
didn't know, and then I walked into my your marker.
He was walking on my one with Google and I just took
It was supposed to be an Abraham Lincoln magic wand. He had streamers. A wand.
Why would you do that? Why would you change it from a wand to a pencil?
Nolan ripped off almost all the streamers. There was only one streamer left this morning, and I said, can I just rip off the last streamer? Because that helps the streamer.
I just wish there was something to please for her.
I always
It's
go
not
for
this
the
song is
one
about how
He's weird.
her daughter always says like creepy things. Caroline does about how, well, when I was with my other family, the one I had before this one, and this one just like
She thinks it's
And then-
part cheetah.
yeah, she said that she has a cheetah family too.
Which
And
one
that-
is this?
Caroline. She said sometimes
She's
I'm
like
afraid
right
that when I'm a cheetah, I'm killed. And Miss Fox is like, what is wrong with you?
Parker's not that interesting. He says weird things, but he also everything is a video game to him. So like he draws pictures after school from his spy, and they're always levels, Mario levels, and he just draws all these random things, and then he takes a pencil and he does the level. He's like, and then I jump over this, and then I put in this pipe, and then I do this, and
Does he play video games?
yes. So, yeah. He's kind of a strange boy.
At least he's not afraid he's killed
This is also something that we've done. We just haven't really talked about these words that go with it. But when you give the points that goes with a differential equation, then you can solve it for the particular solution. And so they call these initial value problems. I went to a AP conference not last summer, but the summer before. And the big talk was how many books don't talk about initial value problems. And I was like, my book does.
You're like, go.
But this again shows up, and almost, I love when this is a free response question, because when this is a free response question, usually it's a 5-point, like this would be like part A, like number 3 here, and it's 5 points out of 9 if you can just solve a differential equation and plug in the right point. Maybe a little more complicated than this, but. So much stress.
It's not like you haven't had other classes to do.
I'm like Nathan. I mean, I write, but I don't have to write. In the play yesterday, whenever we're supposed to like bring our homework, Cora was like actually doing her chemistry homework. I'm like, she really? Yes. She's like actually doing her homework. I'm like,
That's hilarious. Let's get into the part.
Also the one that jumps up on the face.
seriously, people are gonna watch the play. Why would you say
You
that?
can't go around and tell people that.
I haven't told anybody
You
else.
just told Miss
You just
Dixon
told
she's
us
gonna
I
watch
told
it.
Yeah, and whatever, Ethan, you didn't even count.
Really?
Wow.
Well, I doubt he just said he wasn't gonna watch the play.
How do you know?
He just said that. Sean, you can't tell people that. Really, nobody else me when I try, so I can't.
Except I yelled at her one time, she only tried.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I don't want people to yell at me.
Yeah, you ruined it. I'm not gonna go see it.
Whatever, you're gonna go see it.
It's not even like the
Well,
main
now I
part
can
of the
say this.
story.
Eli's always like, so pretty much, Katie and I killed Cora. We pretty much drove her to death.
So the only difference between this problem and the ones we did before is it says find the particular solution. And why can they say that? Because they actually give us a point to plug in at the end. So we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing, plus C, but then we're going to solve for C, which is again not new, but the difference is they're going to give us some harder integrals now. Huh?
Yeah, so I don't really remember the derivatives of the
Well, what's the derivative of x? It's e to the x. But what if I had e to the 2x? That would be the derivative, and so that's where we have to kind of work backwards, right? So, okay. Oh wait, this is hard brain work, right? So if this was the derivative, if the derivative is e to the 2x, again, just like with sine and cosine, do you agree that it has to be an e to the 2x in the original problem? If you took the derivative of e to the 2x, you really should have a 2 there, right? Like it's e to the 2x times 2. But there is no 2 in this problem. So what does that mean has to be in the antiderivative? Yeah, if there was a 1/2 here, when you pull the 2 out, it all cancels out. And so that's the part what I mean where they're wanting you to really think through this right now and think about, can I match it up? So this would be 1/2 e to the 2x. And the nice thing is you can check it. Take the derivative of this and make sure that it equals that. And so you can check how to do that. And then this one's just the normal 3x squared over 2 plus c. So definitely some E stuff on there today, some trig stuff, making you kind of think about the chain rule. Questions about that? And then what am I going to do? Plug in your point, solve for C. I can tell you on the AP test where they give you a problem like this, you get one step for just separating the variables, so putting the x's and the dx's on one side and the dy's on the other side. You usually get 2 points for integrating both sides correctly. You get a point just for putting plus c. So if you put plus c with a wrong integral, you still get 1 point. So that's where I do. Maybe when my kids are older, but I feel like it would be very exhausting, but it would be kind of, I feel like it would make me a better teacher. But some people don't want to grade them. But Ms. Hodge and I both want to grade. It's like 8 hours a day. week that you just grade free response questions. 8 hours a day or a week.
Is it paid?
I think they give you a stipend, yeah. And you get it's kind of like a vacation if you find doing math vacation because they like put you up in a week with a whole bunch of other mathers. And
You're like in a hotel. Is there a pool in a hospital? You're just given. Oh,
no,
And
it's
then
like
you drop someone's test.
oh no, like you like are at work from like 8 to 5, and then after that you go back to the hotel. But like you're like in a room with a bunch of other people grading, and like there's like the head reader of the they call them graders, readers, and like you're grading, and then they check your work to see that it's right. And if you have a question, you have to ask them, and if they have a question about it, they ask the next person up.
They grade so many in so little time.
There's a lot of people that go and do it, and then but I mean you take it in May and you get the results back in July, but yeah, I mean there's a lot of people that grade them, so.
They'd have a happier life.
This is gonna be not very pretty, right? This is gonna be like e squared over 2 minus 3 halves.
Yeah, but the 3 times adds up to 3, you get 2.
So you get 2, and if I subtract that over 2 minus e squared over 2, is that what c equals? And so your answer is plugging that in for c. So I think the proper answer here would be 1/2 e to the 2x minus 3 halves x squared plus 2 minus e squared over 2. Right, don't give me a decimal. That's fun, right? Where's Rachel? Just find out where that she said she was going to Walmart to get help her sister.
Probably shopping. I mean, they probably sell this stuff. There's a lot of cool things to do. There actually are. Maybe something happened to them as
I know, I'm kind of worried about it.
I want to go into that. I want to go into that.
This is
Oh, I bet you have to eat breakfast. Kyle or whatever. Probably.
this is 6-1 day 1.
Yeah.
You actually have some time to work on this, so you either need to work on this or work on your test corrections, not just chat it up with your buddies.
Is that in towards